Welcome everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's February 25th, 2020. The show, as always, is presented to you by the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find the show. A lot of great articles as well. Come check us out, marijuanatimes.org. Today, we're talking about a standstill when it comes to marijuana law reform in Indiana. Also, dabbing, the new trend that apparently a lot of people are not aware of. I know most of you are. For people out there in what some would call the straight edge world, I don't know, I wouldn't use that term, but some would. Don't know what's the deal with dabbing. Also coming up, white collar professionals going green. All of that still to come. But first, Cannabis News is brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor for over 600 episodes now. Grow safe and poison-free with NatureSide. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you're growing, whether it's cannabis or something else. Anything that someone's going to be ingesting, you use NatureSide, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, NatureSide, for your continued awesomeness. This first story by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org. At a standstill in Indiana, I talked with the chairman of the Indiana Normal, William Henry. He said Hoosiers continue to be harassed, arrested, prosecuted, publicly humiliated, and lose their jobs for choosing to self-medicate with therapeutic levels of THC like our neighboring states get to freely use right now. Our liberty continues to be violated, and Hoosiers are not happy. So last session, the legislature passed a restriction on hemp flower. Some hemp businesses, retail and hemp flower, they joined together and challenged the law. A federal injunction was placed on the law, focusing on the interstate transport restriction being unconstitutional. Further challenges and appeals were made as well. It is still currently in litigation, but the injunction itself legalized hemp flower again in September of 2019. So even hemp is having some pushback and some problems in Indiana. So cannabis law reform itself in the Indiana State House is currently at a standstill. All the bills that were submitted to the state legislature this session for hemp and cannabis reform are dead. And he basically said that it is up to people in Indiana to elect new officials if they want that problem to be solved, remedied, even improved upon in some way. Indiana is looking like it's going to be one of the last states to have any kind of meaningful cannabis law reform. But if you live in Indiana, you can make a difference. Check out Indiana Normal or some other group in Indiana and make noise at the very least. Get the discussion going. Get people talking about medical marijuana. Medical marijuana is so popular. It's one of the most popular issues that you will come across in today's current political climate. So you have that to work with at the very least, even in a state like Indiana. This next story from WOWT.com in Cincinnati. Dabbing marijuana drug trend that continues to catches most parents, teachers off guard. It's by Todd Dykes for WOWT Channel 5. I've met Todd a couple times, been on the news. I was on the news with him, or was interviewed for the news by him a couple years ago for medical marijuana. I talk about medical marijuana in Kentucky. This is a story about dabbing. He says dabbing is discreet. It looks a lot like vaping, but the marijuana concentrates that people use to dab packs an incredibly strong punch. Thomas Hinscher says just like an extract from pot, it's just stronger, more potent. Nicole Schlesier, President and CEO of Prevention First, so we just don't know enough about it yet, but they do, meaning, of course, teenagers throughout greater Cincinnati. She said her colleagues recently asked local students about the kinds of drugs their classmates may be using. The number one substance listed was THC cartridges and dab pens, so they're very aware of what is available, what they're seeing among their peers. WLW investigator Todd Dykes talked to several local educators and even law enforcement officials who've never heard of dabbing. Schlesier said that has to change because teens here are doing it and the consequences can be unsettling at best. Paranoia, anxiety. So some of those immediate effects that we just don't know what they're doing or what they're ingesting. That's definitely the scariest part. I mean, I guess it's not hard to believe that there are some people who don't know about dabbing. It's relatively new. Even in the cannabis community, dabbing wasn't a household word, 10 years ago. As I said, even within, the quote-unquote stoner community. So it is relatively new. But it's one of those examples of how easy it is for people like us who are so immersed in one issue and know a lot about, follow that issue intimately, I guess, for a better lack of a better word, we put a lot of effort into following that issue and what's going on with it. It's hard for us to see outside of that and realize that people who are focused on other issues, maybe they're focused on their career, stocks or whatever their interests are, hobbies are, and they just don't know about these things. I guess if you're an educator or a law enforcement official, it may be something you want to know about. But I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. You don't tell me to do mine. But obviously, these people don't watch this show. We talk about dabbing all the time. I'm disappointed. Our viewership in that area is lacking. If you want to know, just ask me. I'll tell you all about it. By the way, personally, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm an old school guy. I've tried dabbing. It's just not, I don't get it. It's not for me. I don't get it. It's like, boomer. Okay, boomer. I don't get it. Get off my lawn with your dabs. You whippersnappers. This last story from the Chicago Sun-Times. Pot profs, cannabis clinicians, and lawyers among white-collar workers flocking to marijuana jobs. White-collar workers are going green in Illinois. Though bud tenders and ganja growers have long been the face of legal weed, jobs in a host of fields not generally associated with the cannabis industry are popping up around the state. With Illinois' marijuana industry beginning to boom after legalization, some 9,000 people were working in the industry, including more than 6,000 hired in the year 2019, according to Leafly. Many of the newer job postings are for white-collar positions, from physicians to college teachers. They don't require you to get your hands dirty. They go through the different areas, like cannabis and copyright is a profession that's seen a lot of people getting into it. As weed transforms into a consumer packaged good, the McDonald, Bohan, Holbert, and Berghoff law firm announced the launch of a new practice group earlier this month covering cannabis-related intellectual property issues, going to focus on the whole gamut of proprietary products and services and plants, said Nicole Graham, a partner at the Loop firm. From our perspective, we're really able to offer our clients a broad range of services when it comes to protecting their innovations. Let's talk about higher education. Of course, among the jobs that came online in the past year were instructors at Oakton Community College's Skokie and DePlain campuses, jobs that are redefining the meaning of higher education. Puns. Steve Fix developed Oakton's Cannabis 101 course and is among the 8 professors teaching students in the school's new Cannabis Dispensary and Patient Care Specialist Certificate program. Very long name. The program, which includes 7 courses, 5 of which are specifically focused on pot, drew nearly 400 enrollees this semester. Fix said the demand doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. I know some of my students have gotten positions in medical cannabis in Illinois. Some other jobs listed in this story if you want to check out the link in the description of this video. They also talk about doctors who have gone into medical cannabis, moved away from more mainstream medicine. I don't know what else to say. It's growing. I mean, it's just, and there's gonna be more jobs, there's gonna be more opportunities, more economic activity, all good things that come from legalization. There's disappointment, obviously, in some aspects of it, and the restrictions and the roadblocks that are thrown up, namely by government entities. But it's here, and we're moving forward with it, and opportunities are being created despite the setbacks and it not being as robust as many of us believe it should be. It being a legalization, that is. We continue to cover those stories, update them, cover more stories, all the stuff, all the cannabis news we talk about right here on Cannabis News, 5 days a week. Search the Marijuana Times on YouTube. We're closed in still on 3,000 subscribers, just very, very close, just so close. Go subscribe on YouTube. Click that notification bell so you know when a new episode is dropped. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com. They're organic, all-natural pesticides are awesome. Go check them out. Proud sponsor of the show. Thanks for watching and listening and sharing and commenting and spreading the truth about cannabis with this show. Please continue to do so. Thanks for watching and listening today, and we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.